If you're like me, sometimes you see a work of art and think, what's the story there? Well, I do know this one. The Sea Serpent in Nashville's Fannie Mae D's Park is by artist Pedro Silva. It arrived in the early 80s, and a few years ago, a restoration was led by Lynn Driver. Now, Lynn, she lives in Bell Buckle, in a house you have to see.
I told the lady at the coffee shop, I think I'm going to mosaic my house and call it the Bell Buckle Mosaic House. I've been known to do what I say I'm going to do.
Lynn started this in 2019, and then it was a project throughout COVID.
These are high-fired tiles that can go through a freeze-thaw cycle. I have the Amazon folks ask if they can take pictures.
And truly, the house tells Lynn's story.
My dog, Al.
Several scenes capture Lynn's home of Bell Buckle. But the most personal part of the Mosaic House is right here. That's a tribute to her son, John Hood.
Well, kind of like his mom, he was a little non-conforming.
John was what you'd call a street artist.
Well, he would do what I called his removable graffiti. He'd scale up a telephone pole and hang it as high as he could and see how long it would last.
Their work and materials were different, but Lynn and John were always bonded because at their core, they were both artists.
He would take these Polaroids and, again, that was his documentation. Yeah, he was an insulin-dependent diabetic, and I always say he lived by a needle and he died by one with an accidental heroin overdose in 2014. And he had told me that he had a problem. And when I asked him, John, why didn't you tell me sooner? He said, Mom, I knew I was going to break your heart.
And so, it matters a lot to Lynn what happens to the Mosaic House. She's moving to Portland, Oregon to be close to one of her other children. And that means she's put the house on the market. All throughout the house is Lynn's mosaic work. She says taking the place will need the right kind of buyer.
We're looking, for someone creative. There could be a recording studio here. It would be great for a songwriter's retreat, an artist residency.
I did ask Lynn if it was going to be hard leaving the Mosaic House. She doesn't think so. It helped her with loss. She's ready to move on.
Now it's time for this to have its own life, a life of its own. It will continue without me.
If you're like me, sometimes you see a work of art and think, what's the story there? There's quite a story to this one. I'm Boris Sanders, News Channel 5.